Hey everybody, how's it going? I had a great weekend at the University of Maryland. So I'm going to let you guys know about how awesome it is to be at Maryland lacrosse game tailgates.
Oh,
Maryland
I know
lacrosse.
this. I know this.
The,
Before you get
the,
into it, let me shout one out to the late great J.R. Randalls, who was like the biggest Maryland lacrosse fan of all time that I ever came across. Years and years. He was a guy in Section 4 who would do those crazy chants in football too. Like you probably knew him if you didn't know him. And that guy would have the biggest lacrosse tailgates you could ever imagine. And we always treated like it was like practice for football. So
yeah.
shout out to him, man, because I tell you what, you know me, I'm not a huge non-revs guy, but like those tailgates, you will have a good time.
Yes, you will, and I did. I showed
We
up.
saw. We have video and
Yeah.
photographical evidence of that.
Yes. Wheels promised not to post those publicly. That's I
It didn't
I
mean it
do.
didn't make it to us.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm cool with that as long as it's not, and remember at the football at the bowl game, had a good tailgate as well, and there's videos of stuff there too. But that is for the people who show up live. People who show up live get their own special privileges. I showed up. I didn't see Wheels was a little late. He had traffic coming from Philly, and the first person who saw me was N. Clater on the board on the Maryland at 24/7 Sports.com message board. If you know that, he is Mr. Popo on YouTube. If you guys recognize the name, is one of the regulars. He's like, Larry, and I'm like, hey, what's up? Who are you? Right? And then he told me who he was. His wife Christine was there. They had their kid there. Awesome family. Started giving me drinks. We start going around, and there's probably about 15 different little tailgates, little tables, all in a big like square rectangle, making this massive tailgate. There he is, Mr. Popo. There you go. Yes, Nate. And you walk through there and you cannot turn around without someone forcing food into your hand, forcing drinks into your hand. They're so welcoming, so happy to have people there. And I just ran into ex-players like this
This is
guy
Brett Makar, and you're listening to IMS Radio.
and this guy.
This is John Geppert, and you're listening to IMS Radio.
Those main names might not mean that much to you. They didn't mean that much to me, but they're both multi All-Americans who are now professional lacrosse players. And I'm just like, in Wheels is like, you know who you just talked to? I'm like, no. And like I recognized the Brett Makar. And then I ran into Logan McNaney's family. Logan McNaney's the current goalie.
This is Logan McNaney's brother. I have no goalie skills, and you're listening to IMS Radio.
There we go. And we're drunker and drunker. And I started hanging out with Mitchell Lloyd's family. Mitchell Lloyd is a sophomore FOGO. If you don't know what that is, it means face off, get off. It means you're very good at doing face offs and not much else. So you win the face off and then you run because they allow live substitutions. You run off, face off, get off. He's a sophomore, and Maryland has a guy named Luke Weirman who's a senior, like best in the country All-American. So nobody else plays much. So he's not playing much. He's like the third or fourth string. But I had a good time with his family. This is his mom.
This is Logan McNaney's brother.
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
This is Mitchell Lloyd's mom, and you're listening to IRS Radio.
We all started busting out laughing. I gave her another
This
shot.
is Mitchell Lloyd's
for
mom, and you're
redemption.
listening to IMS Radio.
So she did get it right. There
That's
you
almost
go.
on the almost on the Bruce Feldman. Hey, this is IMS Radio, and he's like, who is that?
Yeah. So anyway, the tailgate was amazing. There's these two super fans named Matt and Drew who are hilarious. I guess everybody knows of these guys. I ran into Terp, Phil, who's
Phil?
yeah, longtime friend from old 1990s ACC board days. His buddy Jesse. I forget Jesse's. Anyway, whatever.
Didn't Jameer Young say IRS Radio also?
Somebody did.
It was Jameer Young, I'm
forget.
pretty sure.
Yeah, it might have been.
IRS Radio.
Yeah, he did. And then, of course, the game was awesome. Wheels took me up in the press box. Patrick Stevens was there. I asked him a lot about lacrosse expansion, like whether the PAC schools are going to have Division I lacrosse teams now. He said no. But anyway, and then I made friends with Maria, the hostess, and Henry, the security guard. And then I
You didn't
decided
get a bumper from Henry, the security guard?
I didn't.
The
Maria.
security guard, and you're listening to IRS radio?
Yeah.
Like I feel like a bit bad for like Logan McWhatever's brother. Like I don't even know his name. Like he's just hey,
Nanny's brother.
listen to IMS radio, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, you can give us your name too, Bob McManey or whatever, right?
So all I'm gonna say is go to the lacrosse games. So fun. One, if you just love tailgate and you love the whole tailgate culture, you get that. And you get to root for a team that's a national title contender every single year. The game was fun. Oh, when you watch it, it looks like there's like almost nobody there because everybody's on the Tizer side. And there's like, I don't
they're
remember
on the camera side. Yep.
There were like 5 sections of people like that were completely full. And in the middle of it, it feels awesome. There's energy and excitement. Those sections are full. And so I went down there for the second half. And anyway, it's just a lot of fun. Highly recommend. And thank you, everybody who's watching and stuck through a lacrosse story. But I think it was worth it. I think it was a good public service announcement for the lacrosse team and all that. Jeff is bored out of his skull. Paul, you went to a football practice. You want to go to that next?
Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. So I was lucky enough to go to spring practice the other day. It's part of the Terran Club Backstage Pass thing. So obviously it's a donor event, so I don't want to breach that trust. But a couple of things I noticed, which I think aren't particularly groundbreaking. If you watch the 3 quarterbacks and just kind of the way that they carry themselves, the way the team reacts to them, to me, it's just one day, but like just kind of more off of the vibes than anything else. It really feels like Billy's team to me. If you watch all three of them hit good throws downfield. All 3 of them were doing good stuff. But just the way the team seems to rally to Billy in a way that I'm not sure they do the other guys was certainly interesting to see in person, and makes me feel like that's probably I know it's an open competition, but somebody's probably going to have to take that job from Billy as opposed to the other way around. At least that's the feeling.
Trying to tell everybody that for months, and nobody wanted to believe it. Nobody's wanted to believe it.
Yeah, and look, he's not going to be Leah with his arm. He's not that guy, but he's got a good enough arm in college. And, for the most part, he was hitting his throws. He was in stride. He clearly knows the offense. And to me, when you look at the 3 player profiles, Billy, obviously his ability to run is a real game changer in college. Cam Edge, people are saying that he's more of a statue in the pocket. I don't get that at all. He's just not a natural runner. And MJ is a little bit of a mix of the two. It really feels like, to me, you can take that offense and build some more of those kind of read option concepts into it to really open up the field for him in a way. So he's not worried about going through multiple progressions all the time. He's making that read. He's hitting his first one, or he's tucking the ball and running. That's fine. This is college football. You don't have to all be NFL quarterback style running these crazy, route trees and stuff. I'm not super worried about that. As long as he can make those deep throws to keep the defense honest, I feel fairly okay with that from what I've seen personally as well as in the game so far. Other thing that stood out, I've been going to these practices for the better part of 20 years since I used to be on the MGN board. And the size and speed of the team overall, but especially the defense right now, is just a thing that I've never seen in Maryland colors. That front 7 is just nasty and giant and fast and athletic. And it really feels like we've been kind of waiting to build up this level of depth. We've always had like 1 or 2 guys, maybe 3 guys who kind of play on that level. And even losing Barham, I don't feel like you miss a thing, honestly. The pass rushing is going to be a question mark because it always is for Maryland. But Donnell Brown's back. Wyatt looks like a beast out there. And then Neo Avery and some other guys look like they might be ready to take that next step. And it was just interesting seeing, Jeff and others have reported about the defense being kind of bigger, stronger, faster. But like, it's not till you really get down there on field level and watch these guys go where there's something else. And they were beating up the offensive line pretty bad, which obviously leads to the next segue, which is the offensive line is not super at the moment. They really like that Heron kid. I didn't get to pay too much attention to what they were doing, and I don't want to, I don't want Locks getting all up in my ass for this to begin with, or Jeff's ass more likely. But clearly they were running. If you're running Fagan and a D2 transfer out there at your tackles, if Roy is ready, it's kind of question mark. He was running with the twos. It feels to me they're going to have to go out and at least get a tackle. And I think they're pretty well aware of that. It probably going to get 2 guys if they can. Obviously, it kind of depends after the spring when depth charts come out and guys feel like they want to make a move or not. I'm not going to talk about that other thing. Sorry, there are a couple things I'm not going to talk about, but I was just there was a funny moment. I won't say who it was, but there was a one of the early entries, and it was great seeing 5 or 6, I think maybe even more early entry kids already there for spring practice and getting those reps. But one of them was doing special teams, and he made a mistake, and the coach just absolutely reamed him a new one, and he was just standing there looking like he wanted to be anywhere else in the world at that moment. And it was just funny to me, thinking about when you're a freshman and you walk in and you like get yelled at by a prof for the first time. Like, this guy is just like, man, what have I gotten myself into? This is a whole other.
We didn't have to deal with that layer.
Yeah, no, it's a whole different thing. Another thing generally, like I thought was interesting, was it just feels like this team likes each other. There was a lot of banter, and you always see that kind of stuff, especially between the offense and defense. But this felt much more, I don't know, less vitriolic. It seemed like they were getting at it and they were getting at each other, but like there was still that like, hey, we're on the same team. Whereas a lot of times, you'll get some fisticuffs and you'll get some really tough stuff and some really mean stuff between the O and D. So that was certainly interesting to see. And again, that thing that felt a little bit different to me compared to spring practices I've been to in the past. Other than that, I guess that's kind of it. But I would just say, first of all, if you get a chance to do the backstage pass thing, it's really a great program. And if I were you, I would take one of those and go to the spring practices, man, because if you're really into football, it's just, you can't quite describe what it's like being able to really walk up next to these guys and, pat them on the hat and just kind of, see how they really get down and do their business. It's fascinating. If you've ever been to one, seeing how they even structure the practices to the point where, like, for every one of these sessions, they know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, and everything. It's just really cool to see.
Well, I feel like after listening to you guys, I need to like urge people to go to basketball games or something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Jeff is like, when can we get to the?
If you guys have not been to a road trip, field hockey, West Coast road trip, like the 3 of us have.
That's right.
Man,
I
gotta do it.
you.
Oh, the
Gotta
game,
do it.
The game at Oregon. Woo, that was fun, man.
Yeah, man.
Just lit. It was.
It was good. Word. It was good. Did you see this question from Dan Hartle, Paul? How to go with the Arkansas OT?
He's talking about the.
That's the potential transfer.
That's
my fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not.
I believe he visits Thursday.
Yeah.
So I don't think.
I don't know any specifics, but I know that they're quite interested in upgrading their tackle situation. And let me say this. Again, I've had the opportunity to speak to some people who actually are important and know things, unlike me. And I will just say this: I'm as confident and comfortable with the NIL situation on both sides of the rep sports as I've ever been. They're doing work over there, and I know we were behind to start, but a lot of people have bought in, and we've got the right people in place to make this stuff happen, from HOF Harry Geller all the way down the line. So you should feel pretty good about that.
I do feel very good about it. I love hearing that. I think everybody loves hearing that.
We got all the anecdotal evidence in the world on the basketball side, right? That their NIL is healthy.
Yes.
And just
like
I will not bullshit you guys. Like if I'm telling you, we're gonna be all right.
They're clearly doing well on the basketball side, and our guest tonight is the perfect evidence of that. From South Florida, Selton Miguel transferred in. He's a senior, right? He's only got, this is his last year, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but he was a really big part of that team. Really great stats if you look at it. 6'4" shooting guard, 14.9 points, 3.2 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and he shot almost 40% from three, which is that's the magic number for Maryland after last year. Jeff, good, huge addition, right? Is he maybe even going to start?
Yeah, someone texted me a few hours ago saying, "What's the starting lineup next year?"
Yeah.
And I mean, I think 4 of the spots are pretty well set. I don't see it. Anyway, Jacoby Gillespie is not starting at point guard. I don't see DHS not starting. Queen, Reese, we know there's. So then it's that other spot. Right now, I would say it's Rodney Rice or Selton Miguel, depending on who else they add. But I think those two would probably compete for that, the shooting guard spot. And the good news is, that's a good problem to have. Last year, any one of those guys would have been your second best scoring guard, any of them. And
right.
So now all of a sudden you got some depth. This offseason's gone better than anyone could have possibly, I think, anticipated. I knew that I had a feeling it would go well because, like I've said, they had a head start. They knew months ahead of time, like, we're probably not playing in the postseason. So they had a long time to start planning. They were able to execute while some other teams were still playing in the postseason. And it's been a home run so far, and there's more to come still. 2 more spots still open.
Who are going to be the 2 spots?
You got to subscribe to IMS for me to answer. I posted something today if you're listening live, or Wednesday if you're listening on Thursday, about a new but familiar name who's popped up all of a sudden, who I think there's a really good chance with. Obviously, everybody knows Bryce Pope, the transfer from Cal San Diego, just finished his visit Wednesday night, so that's one to watch closely. You still have Connor Esigian, the Wisconsin transfer, visited last week. We'll see on that one. He's doing this world tour of every Big Ten school.
Great guard revenge tour is what it is.
Yeah. It's I think he's Indiana today. Still might go to Michigan and Nebraska, so he's going to almost like half the Big Ten. But they're in that one too. Ian Martinez still kind of floating around. And then there's still a few other guys on the list with 2 spots left, depending on if any, but still wouldn't shock me. I don't think anyone else is leaving, but it wouldn't shock me if he had one more departure. So he's going to have a lot of talent and also a lot of work trying to bring in all these guys who just showed up from different parts of the country, into a team.
And we're starting to get some questions in the chat room. Let me throw some of these at you. First of all, from our good buddy Fernando Palacios, Jeff, have you lost some weight?
Thank you, Fernando. I have. Appreciate it.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Breaking
Nice.
news.
Good job,
Breaking
Jeff.
news. Yeah.
I need to do that too.
I'm playing pickleball now.
Oh,
I'm
really?
a pickleballer.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You're officially
Fun.
old.
Well, I
Yeah,
used to play tennis. I thought everybody out there would be old, but half the people out there are younger than me. It's crazy. There was hardly any old people out there. It's a lot of fun watching what I eat, playing pickleball, trying to work out a little bit.
Younger than you is still old, Jeff.
I'm thinking like our parents. Usually, when you hear pickleball, I think of a bunch of old fogies, But
No, I think a bunch of 40-year-old white people. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like that's my demographic, pretty much. Yeah.
No, it's not just 40. There's a lot of college age kids out there. It's popular, man. It's blown up. But
okay.
Yeah, thanks, Fernando. Fernando's a good friend of mine, known him many years. So
yeah,
appreciate it.
I remember we did one of the live shows at Looney's. He came up because he was part of the group that was like auctioning off when they tore down Cole Fieldhouse.
The Cole seats, right?
Yeah, he was auctioning off the seats. I remember that. Yeah, and it went for charity, right? It raised money. I don't remember
Mhm.
what it was for, but he did an awesome job with that. So good job, Fernando. I haven't talked to you in years, but here's a question for you, Jeff, from Cooley Whistles. No interest
Great
in
name.
Matt Becht. The only thing he can think of is that
Mm.
he's a defensive liability.
Yeah, that's the Division II kid from Bishop O'Connell originally. I think everybody's, now that we've seen these guys like like Golke, all of a sudden everybody wants to find the next D2 shooter. And there's really not that many guys. I mean, we love the Cinderella stories, but most of the guys just don't have the athleticism to make that jump. Some do, but most don't. So long story short, I haven't heard of a lot of traction there, but you never know. I think the other thing is also they have so many guards at this point that I guess if you take a Division II kid like that, maybe it makes sense because he's not going to come in with the expectations everybody else has for playing time. So maybe it works, but I haven't heard much on Becht.
And that leads perfectly into the next question. All of these guards, what about 3-and-D wings or any kind of small forward
Stretch
or
four.
stretch? Yes.
Stretch.
Yeah,
four.
there's been a few rumored names that I've reported on, guys who could be entering the transfer portal, and if they do, would be interested. But those guys some of them have decided to stick around at their schools. Some are still not in the portal, so they really aren't a lot of threes that they've been going after. Clearly, next year they're going to play a ton of 3-guard lineups with the way the roster's shaping up. The one forward or one of the forwards. The Evansville kid. I don't know how you say his last name. Humrich House.
I'm not even
Humrichis,
trying that.
Humrichis.
Yeah, Ben Humrich is a really good player, has declared for the draft, but most likely will be playing somewhere next year. A lot of guys declare for the draft just to kind of get their name out to the scouts. Selton Miguel actually is in the draft as we speak. He'll be out, I'm sure, any day, but he's declared also. So, but that's one that they would love to have. The question is, how do you sell this guy who, averaged 13 and whatever it was, good 3-point shooter, 6'9", has a bunch of options. How do you consider him to come in now after you have a roster that's getting pretty crowded and you have Queen and Reese, obviously, which makes it tough to convince any big man that there's going to be a big opportunity.
Yeah, it's a weird one, right? Because at this point, if you're going into the season assuming you're going to be starting Reese and Queen together, you've only got Geronimo pretty much as your big man backup. Pierce, you just can't count on existing at this point, right? Until you know. So I don't feel super confident about that. So it makes me wonder whether you might be able to find like a Patrick Emilian level kind of guy who can shoot it a little bit and stretch the floor, or you go and try and find like a 6'6", 6'7" athletic kind of guy who can maybe play a small ball 4 in a pinch, and then it gives you a little bit more combination with the two big the twin towers, as it were, playing one at a time, and then a more athletic small lineup around them. But whoever it is got to shoot. I mean, Geronimo obviously is not that guy, but he'll help you defensively, and is very versatile. But you're not expecting him to shoot 35% from 3 next year, right? So
I think Geronimo's a great part of a rotation, though.
No, I think he's a wonderful 7th, 8th guy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he's the only guy you want as your backup 4 or 5 right now. I think that worries me a little bit more than the guards do. It feels like you can get guards from wherever. We don't even know whether Stevens is going to be good enough to play. If he is, great. If he's not, whatever. But it feels like guard-wise, they've got enough guys at least. I'm not sure I feel like they still got to get at least one more guy who can play the 4, right?
Yeah, who can
There's
score.
also Mallory that everybody keeps just glossing over. He could come in and be a player too. You don't know. You never know how they're going to.
You mean Malachi
Who?
Palmer?
Sorry,
Palmer?
did I say Mallory?
You said
Yes.
Chance Mallory's at 25. Settle down. We'll get there.
Sorry. Yes. I meant
Yeah.
Palmer, yes.
Yeah, he's going to have I think an uphill battle to get playing time right away. When he committed, it looked great, but since then 17 transfers have committed. So, but that was kind of expected with him. He was, I think, top 150 kind of guy. So, has some good upside, but at this point it's almost impossible for freshmen. I think Queen will be an exception, a rare exception, but to make a huge splash right away in the Big Ten, it's just so old. Everybody's so old right now. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, for all of the talk about DHS having a poor year and being one of the worst guys in the Big Ten with over 20 minutes a game, he made the Big Ten all-freshman team. So, like, that's the level here. Like, things have changed a little bit with the COVID year. Now, guys are starting to age out a little bit of that cycle. But, college basketball is as old as it's ever been. And you've got these guys with the transfer portal. Basically, the guys who are actually playing basketball are much more likely to be juniors and seniors now than they were freshmen and sophomores, 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, the COVID waiver, I think, expires next year,
right?
is the final group that can use that. So after that, it'll go back a little more to normal. But with NIL now, everybody's looking for any way to stay around for 5 or 6 years. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Well, just sucking up all those guys from the lower levels. I mean, that, basically there's a million guys like a Miguel out there who can, normally would stick at their smaller school and graduate and be a great player in all conference or whatever. But now, because they can transfer with no penalty, they're, moving on up to a Maryland or a team at a higher level. So all the rosters at the high major level are just getting older naturally on top of having the COVID year on top of it.
Yeah, I saw a graphic the other day. It listed the percentage of players by conference who've transferred, and a few of those lower level or mid-level conferences, it was like high 30s or 40%. Which is amazing. So almost 1 out of every 2 players is transferring.
And we will be joined by Selton Miguel in just 2-3 minutes here. We did get a pronunciation correction. Maybe this is right. Humrick House.
I think that's right.
Okay, Humrick House.
Yeah, that's correct.
How you say his name? If he doesn't come,
I need him to come here just so he can wreck Jeff with that name every week. Like, I need that.
Another question for you, Jeff. They're still going after Chaz Lanier.
I mean, he's technically not in the portal yet, so nobody can go after him. There's a lot of rumors that he will go in the portal, but until then, there is no really going after. But and he's in the NBA draft also. He averaged 20 points a game last year at North Florida. Shot like 56% from the floor, which is crazy for a guard. Like 44% from 3, just absurd numbers. But until he goes in the portal, just wait and see. Obviously, now you have a lot of guards signed up. So.
Yes, let's get to one more. Hopefully Selton is on time here in about 2 minutes. We got one from the Demonat. Oh, he's kind of commenting on the older players, how the teams feel older now than they did, because you have high schoolers with a more direct route to the NBA.
Yeah, and also like Jeff mentioned too, because of NIL, you've got a lot of guys who might have taken the jump to the NBA, even thinking they might just they might go to Europe, or they might end up in the G League for a little while. Either way, they're getting paid. Right. But now they're probably getting better, paid better to stick in college. So that's just another reason that you've got these teams getting much older than they used to be. Which is really, it's really hurting the freshmen. I mean, you look at a guy like Calipari who would come in with all these, stud freshmen, and all of a sudden those teams are getting waxed by just these older guys because they're grown ass men. They're not high school kids. Even the best high school kids sometimes are just going to get physically worked over by, a bunch of older guys. So it's certainly a fascinating thing to watch how this evolves, within the current system the way it is. And we'll see how long that even lasts. I mean, it feels like every couple of years there's some new idea to shift everything around. So,
yeah, and Duke's like that as well, where they were every year 3, 4, 5 McDonald's All-American level 5 stars coming in, replacing the last crop. But as the teams are older, they're able to combat that talent.
Yeah, it was already getting really hard. Even before NIL, it was starting to get really hard to win big with freshmen. I mean, look at Calipari. He's done nothing in a while. Duke hasn't been nearly as good as they've been in the past. So that was already happening. Now with NIL and so many, the average age getting so much higher, that kind of negates the one and done factor.
Certainly the idea that your recruiting pitch is to bring in the guy, 4 or 5 guys and say, look, play for me for a year and then off you go, no questions asked. Like that, I'm not sure that works anymore. Certainly we'll see whether the Shires or the Caliparis are able to adjust what they've been doing. But it's interesting to see how the field has been leveled a bit, even when you've got, these Creightons and Marquettes and these SEC teams that typically aren't basketball powers. It's not all just money. It's just the ability to be able to go. And if you've got a good, if your coach is really good at plucking talent and finding talent
and develop,
being able to, right. You develop a couple guys you want to keep around, in Maryland's case, you want DHS to be a 3-4 year player. Yep. You just build around the outside with those other guys. If you can get a guy like Gillespie, you've got 2 years out of him. That's great. That's another building block you can count on. And then you're kind of filling the outside with guys that you can get, to transfer in and try and, produce at a higher level.
And
hold on. That's clearly why Maryland hasn't gotten one and done all these years. They had the foresight to know that eventually it was going to crash, so they just haven't bothered to sign.
They've been practicing.
How quickly have you forgotten Diamond Stone, Jeff?
Or Derek Queen, but
that's
we are now joined by our guest of the evening, Selton Miguel, the transfer from South Florida. How you doing, Selton?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Can't complain, man. Just blessed to be in this position.
Yeah, well, we're very thankful that, first of all, that you're joining Maryland, but then also thankful for you having on the show. Why did you pick Maryland? What is it about Maryland?
I picked Maryland because Coach Kevin, and just the environment when I went there for a visit, just how he let the guys play, his guards, and you're trying to get shooters. He say he struggled with shooters last year, shooting the ball. So coming in as me shooting 40% last year, just felt like it was the right thing to do coming in for a guy like me, 5th year, and have the freedom to play and, just trying to change things around.
So, Selton, I have to ask the question on everybody's mind. Bruno Fernando, I was told he's a relative of yours in some way. I know you guys are both from Angola. What is the relationship there? And also, how much of a factor was he kind of telling you what Maryland was like and why it might be a good place?
He's my brother. He's like my cousin. You know what I mean? Like we grew up together back in Angola. We played basketball over there together and everything. And then next thing you know, we both came to the States. We went to different high schools. But then he went to Maryland. I went to Kansas State, and I came to USF. And now I had the opportunity to go back. Finish my last year in Maryland. He definitely was a big influence. Because I wanted to just go there and have another Angolan that play for the Terps and just continue his legacy. So he was big.
I'm sorry. What kind of feedback did he tell you about Maryland or the fans, things like that?
Oh, he told me it's a big basketball school. Everybody gonna embrace you. Everybody love Bruno over there. So he just told me like you can be the next Bruno. You know what I mean? But at the same time, back next Angola and to have that to embrace that culture. So yeah, he definitely was a big influence for me making that decision. Just for me to go there and continue his legacy, and at the same time trying to win because coach was really big on that.
So Selton, we've watched a lot of your tape, and you put up fantastic numbers last year. Well, how would you describe your game and what you feel like you can bring to Maryland, especially based on what Coach Willard was talking to you about, what he wanted from you?
I'm a guy that can really score at 3 levels. I played the side of the court, not just offense. I'm a 3-and-D guy. Feel like I can bring to Maryland is really scoring. You know what I mean? Really somebody that can have the ball in their hands and really can go. Even though I can't make plays off the bounce. I feel like sometimes college coaches got their system, but at the same time, I feel like I can play without the system sometimes. So just a guy that can make plays for each other, for others, and just somebody can come in and really score the ball and can really shoot at a high level.
Hey, Selton, there's a lot of new players coming into Maryland next year. Big turnover on the roster. What are your expectations coming to a team that's had so much turnover? What do you think that's going to be like?
I feel like it's gonna be good. I see the ad coach have to the roster of the players that coming in. You know what I mean? Especially with the guys that coming in from last year, Juju and them. We got a good big man. You know what I mean? Great big man. Got a freshman coming in, McDonald's All American. So I feel like with that combination with the guard that guy already experienced in college, and I think it would be a great turnaround. I mean, I think College Park needs that.
Selton, have you had a chance to, either when you were at practice on your visit or during games last year or just on YouTube, have you had a chance to watch any there we go.
It happens once a show.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
Okay.
No, I was gonna ask you something similar. Did you get a chance to play pickup with any of the guys on your own campus, or have you been able to watch them and kind of feel like how you fit in with their game?
Oh yeah, I definitely got an opportunity to watch them. Just trying to see what each other can do. Like I say, it's definitely a great addition for the point guard position. Guy from Gillespie coming from Belmont, they really had a good year. Just seeing it, what can we do, and how can my game translate with everybody else? I feel like it's a great addition. Everybody can do different things, and Gillespie can really shoot the ball with other guys that I see. So like just me coming in is gonna be another addition for the scoring part, and then we can definitely gonna be bigger, bigger lineup, so we can definitely guard some guards.
And with all those players, to kind of follow up on that, there's going to be a lot of competition for playing time, and the roster's getting full, and they might even bring in some more players, maybe some big men, who knows, maybe even another guard. There's a little bit of a challenge with that, right? Because you're going to be fighting for playing time, but it's also exciting too, right? Because you have all these players in depth. It means the team's better. But is that a factor in your decision? And then with each successive transfer who comes in, do you think they're starting to say, hey, wait a minute, there may not be time for me? You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that all work out for you guys?
Oh no. The better competition, the better team gets. You know what I mean? I just feel like, of course, it's not a starting lineup right now today, but like I said, I came in to really make sure like I can come in and really make the difference on my position. So having those guys and trying to practice with them every day and compete with them every day, it's gonna make us better. So regardless who starts, it's better for the team. So we're just gonna go from there.
And I know last year was your breakout year. It coincided with your move to the bench as sixth man. You won sixth man of the year in your conference, and I saw quotes from your coach about how selfless that was of you and how good of a season you had. Are you a guy who kind of mentally you start the game better coming off the bench, or was that just a 1 year kind of thing?
Oh yeah, it was just 1 year kind of thing. I definitely trying to come to Maryland to have a start position, of course. But at the same time, like I'm the guy that is willing to sacrifice for the team, whatever it takes. I was the captain here in my team, and then I just wanted to show that even me coming off the bench doesn't really affect the team because, like I say, I'm trying to show the example that if I can come off the bench had the year I can have, so that means like other ones on my team can follow me. So that was really it. Me and coach had an agreement that I can still come off the bench and still play as many minutes I want, and don't be worried about what kind of shots I take.
So, Selton, what was the recruiting process like this time coming out of the transfer portal? It's a bit of a different thing than, I imagine your first go around. What was that like for you? Did you have any other schools you consider? Were you always kind of like looking at Maryland first and going from there?
It was different. As soon as I put my name in the portal, it was, like I said, it wasn't my first rodeo. So, like, I know how things go. Of course, nowadays it's different with NIL and things like that, but I literally had a little vision of coming to Maryland, even when I put my name in the portal. Of course, it was a lot of Power 5 schools. Most of them, like, it was Power 5 schools because, like, the year I had this year. So, I had a little vision, especially Maryland just hired Coach Kevin from UCF. That guy know me since I came to the States because he was coach at UCF, so he used to come to my high school games and everything. So he was really one of the reasons why I came to Maryland. You know what I mean? Of course, it was Bruno and Coach Kevin Wheeler, but like at the same time, Coach Kevin Norris was really one of the reasons too because, like I say, we had a great relationship before even came to Maryland. So as soon as he got a job, he was basically a done deal.
Yeah,
Awesome.
one of our
and can I hold on last before I finish, I have to ask, has anybody called you the Angolan assassin?
Yeah, they call me Angola assassin.
Okay, because if not, I was going to trademark that and we're going to work some shirts up or something.
Nah, they do. I actually had a shirt here at USF that was supposed to be done by the end of the season, but never came out. So it was supposed to be Angola assassin because everybody here was waiting for it.
So is that
Okay.
why you left? Because they didn't put your shirt out?
No, it was taking so long, so I was waiting for it, but never came out. So I was like, okay, it's not a big deal.
All right, we got to work on that. We're going to work on that.
Yeah, for sure.
that's going to be your nickname now. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
To follow up on when you said it was basically all Maryland, you kind of knew that, but one of our live listeners, asked, what other schools were you considering? Did you ever consider this time around? Were you considering anybody else, or was it just Maryland?
No, I was definitely consider other schools. I can throw names out there if you guys want, but definitely was consider other schools. I probably had more than 30 schools calling me, but at the same time, I already knew my top 5 and was going from there.
Okay.
It was Villanova.
Yeah.
It was Ole Miss. It was West Virginia. It was Oklahoma, and it was Cincinnati. So it was those 5 schools that was really like towards to it.
Okay. Hey, Selton, the Angolan assassin. We end every interview by playing fill in the blank. I'm going to ask you 5 rapid fire questions. You say the first thing that comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
There we go. The current player on the Maryland roster that you know the best is?
Juju.
Okay. The biggest thing you'll miss about living in Florida is?
The beach.
Okay. The highest rim you could dunk on is?
To 11 feet.
Okay. If you weren't playing basketball, the other sport you'd play is?
Soccer.
Okay. The next player to commit to Maryland will be?
I don't know that one.
He's not worried
We have
about
to try. We have
I had
to try
to see if you knew about who's coming else with. Who else is coming with
It
you?
might be something, but I really.
There might be. You heard of
Might
something
be.
though? You heard of something?
No.
You don't know. Okay.
All right, we'll talk
All right.
later when we work out those
Yeah.
shirts.
Hey. Yeah. We'll end the live stream. We'll just do it privately. You can let us know, and then we won't tell anybody.
We
else.
won't tell anybody. No.
Promise you.
Nah, the only thing I know it was a shooter on campus. That's the only thing I can see. I can tell y'all it was a shooter on campus on a visit right after I left.
Okay.
All right, fair enough.
All right. Thank you. All right. I think
We'll take
we
what we
know
can get.
I think we know who that is. Selton, one last thing we asked, if everybody comes on the show, could you do us a favor and say, this is Selton Miguel, and you're listening to IMS Radio.
Okay. This is Selton Miguel, and you listen to IMS Radio.
Thank you, Selton, so much for joining us. Good luck at Maryland this year.
Thank you.
Really
sir.
excited. We'll talk about them shirts.
Yeah, we need it.
The Angolan assassin. All right,
love
see ya.
it. I love it. Best of luck, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Selton.
There we
that was
go.
great.
That was,
He's got
I
some
love
of that
that.
same bubbly personality that Bruno has.
yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that's beautiful. And Golden Assassin is just a great nickname. Where I'm
Yeah,
just
it is.
wearing that
Did you pull that from somewhere else, or is
No,
that?
I just
said
just alliteration. That's all.
But he
That's
said
crazy.
people are calling him that, so that's nice job, Paul.
I'm kind of like seriously thinking about the shirts thing. Like, I gotta talk to Harry about that.
Do an NIL, the Angolan assassin, yeah.
Oh,
That
man.
was really great.
This is exciting. We talked about this a little. We intimated about this before, where it's like, yeah, the roster turnover isn't really great. I mean, it's a little tougher to root for a college team when you don't have guys that you really get to know. You know, like I'm a bit bummed I'm only going to get 1 year. This guy, you know, like because he seems great, and you know, it's a bit of a shame. But it makes this time of year really, really fun.
It is.
I want to keep shopping, man. What else we got on the, you know?
Especially when you got a whole roster to rebuild and plenty of NIL money like they have.
Absolutely.
I'm still sad about Jamie. I am. I'm sad about Jimmy Kaiser. I'm happy that Miguel's in now, but you know, it is what it is. That's the new norm, and we've all got to deal with it. So.
Oh, damn it. Damn it. I meant to do this and I forgot. I wanted to bring up the nickname thing. I should have done this instead. That is a total fail by us.
I was gonna ask
Our
him.
bad.
I was gonna ask him too, and I let it slide.
I had it.
man.
I had it as one of mine, but
Yeah, I should write down my questions like the old days.
that was really. Do you want to just recap the story for anybody now?
Yeah, if you haven't noticed, there was after he announced that he was transferring to Maryland, there was somebody on Instagram who posted, "Oh man, I guess that means he's not helping me with that school project tomorrow." And then Selton posted underneath that, "No, don't believe that, man. I'm still here."
Yeah.
You can't read it. Maybe Larry.
It doesn't
put
quite
on
do
the
it,
screen.
but you can find it on Instagram or Twitter. It
Yeah.
got around quite a bit. It was
If you wanna
really
see-
funny.
Yeah. He's
And
like,
you can
"No,
tell,
I-"
like,
he's like, I'm gonna finish. I promise.
yeah, you can tell, like, his personality. He's like, no, please, I'll be there. But
All right.
I meant to ask about that and I forgot. So that's on me. That's my bad.
We have
I'll
now.
give you all free shirts.
We have now Paul's favorite segment of the show. The best way to follow an amazing.
We already
interview.
did that.
Well, not really. We just talked about me getting drunk at the tailgate.
Well, that's as good as it's gonna get. So, all right,
Should we-
just roll
you
the
wanna
thing.
skip?
Just roll the
Jeff-
thing. Roll
Jeff,
roll
give
the
a
thing.
ruling. Should we skip the non-res report?
Roll the thing.
Well, here we go. Non-res report from Wheels. Here we go.
Frickin'
everyone.
wheels.
This is Wheels with your IMS non-revenue sports report. Let's start with baseball and softball.
He sounds
baseball
bored.
team looked to be cruising towards an NCAA resume, regardless of how they finished in the Big Ten, before they hit a 10-game
man.
stretch where they won just
He
2
sounds
games.
bored,
Some
doesn't he?
low
They're now on a
energy.
2-game
I
win
know.
streak,
What's
and they head
going
out to
on, Wheels?
Nebraska this weekend with just 5 total series left in their regular season.
Yeah, my boy Swep's got to get
Softball's
together,
on a
man.
7-game losing streak, weather pending. They're looking to get
It's
a
like
win
he recorded
tonight
at work because
in
he
a
forgot.
single
He's
game
like,
series against
gotta keep
UMBC
it
before
down
they head
because
out
he
to
doesn't
Ohio
want anybody
State
to
this weekend. Gymnastics scored their highest point total in the Big Ten championship meet. Saw them finishing 5th in the conference.
woo!
Their season ended the following week, though, in the NCAA regionals in Gainesville, Florida.
Man, that's
Tennis
a
has
downer.
maintained their top 60 ranking for the entire
Tennis
season.
in the top
They're just
60.
4-5 in
pretty
Big Ten
good.
play. They welcome Minnesota and Wisconsin this weekend to wrap up Big Ten play. Since rising to the top of the national rankings, the women's lacrosse team has dropped 2 of their last 3 games, including a senior day upset loss
Damn it.
to number 24.
I always kind
Penn
of
State.
count on them to be
They
good.
wrap their regular season
They never
tonight
play well on
at
senior
Princeton,
day.
ahead of Big Ten tournament play. Finally,
research
in
by
the
Jeff
biggest
there.
news of the spring, our own Larry France has become a full-fledged lacrosse fanatic. He absolutely dominated the Maryland lacrosse tailgate this past weekend, and it looks like
See?
he's become lifelong friends with several families. But
That's
aside, the Terps beat Rutgers. They play Johns Hopkins this weekend in the rivalry at Homewood Field in Baltimore. The winner claims the Big Ten regular season title. And that's a wrap for your non-revenue sports report. Take care, everyone.
There you go. I hadn't heard that, so there you go. Thanks, Wheels. Yes, I did dominate the tailgate, and as should everyone else starting next year. Let's do that. Okay.
Larry's got some big Frank the Tank energy when he gets excited and he's going. It's really impressive to watch.
All right. I have for you guys a true or false to end the show today. I'm going to read a statement about Maryland athletics. You guys say true or false. And if you want to expound upon it, you can do that too. We will start with Jeff. The first 3 men off the bench on next year's basketball team will be Rodney Rice, Bryce Pope, and Jordan Geronimo.
That Rice Miguel competition is going to be really interesting, but yeah, I think at the moment I would probably say that that's true, but there's a lot to be determined still.
Pope is not committed, to be
I
fair.
know.
Just,
I know.
just,
I feel
just
a couple
for
of
anyone
things in
who,
there
yeah.
to try
Yeah, I
and
mean,
get some.
well, yeah, you did slip Pope in there. I was kind of in my head doing Pope or whatever guard they get there. I mean, there's a good chance Pope will commit, assuming that they're ready to, take a commitment from him, which I think that they could still be waiting on a CGN from Wisconsin to decide. But it would probably be right now, you're either going to have Rice or Miguel, I would think, in the starting lineup, and then Geronimo and whoever this other whoever fills this other spot. So,
Okay.
or
Paul,
two spots.
Yeah, 2 spots now. Paul, the starting quarterback on next year's football team will be Billy Edwards. You already kind of hinted at it.
I mean, based on the information available and my eyeballs at this point, I would say yes until proven otherwise. I like MJ. I don't like. I know people might get down on not being excited about MJ. I like MJ a lot. He's really physically talented. He can do a lot of things. He clearly doesn't have a super grasp on what their concepts are at the moment. So like, it's probably not even really fair to judge him until they get through the spring, maybe, see what happens in the spring game and get into August camp. But it's certainly not, I wouldn't treat it like it's a done deal or anything. It's just, my impressions were really more based on his leadership and the way that the team kind of gravitated to him. And that actually does matter a little bit in football.
So true.
True for me. Yep.
Okay, Jeff, we've all seen the reports, or maybe if you haven't subscribed to Maryland.247sports.com, maybe you haven't seen
And
them.
you're a loser. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You should. You'd see all the reports if you did.
And we've seen the evidence of Maryland's increased NIL this year, but that not only applies to this year, it applies for future seasons as well.
I mean, it's hard to say anything future NIL related because I'm sure it's going to evolve and everything's going to change gradually the next several years. But I would think, I think that year to year that they will have a pretty robust NIL fund, more so in basketball than football, because football, you got to pay so many more guys. You got 7 times as many guys on your roster. It's a lot harder. And so I think that they're doing a lot better on the football side than they were last year, but still a ways to go to catch up to some of the top, blue bloods in terms of funding. But I think it'll continue. I think, that year to year basketball should be able to have a similar kind of operation, but it's hard to predict anything because the whole thing is going to change. Revenue sharing is definitely happening before. I don't want to say before how long, but at some point. So,
well, all those TV contracts are coming up again towards the end of this decade. That's probably where you're going to see the sausage made if the state governments and things don't get in the way beforehand.
That is the answer I wanted to hear. That is a true. Jeff has just guaranteed Maryland will have.
Pretty much. Yep.
Yeah. Maryland will have a robust NIL program forever, indefinitely. Paul, despite losing the most prolific quarterback in team history, the football program will not take a step backwards next season.
That's tough to say. If we're being honest, I mean, quarterback is so important, and the offensive line is so important, and those are the 2 areas that they're really going to have to fill some holes. But then again, I don't think if they say go 6-6 and a bowl win, or 7-5 next year, that's not really like a step back for me. It's 1 game up or down doesn't feel that way. So I'll say true. I think they're gonna. I think the floor is a game or 2 higher than it was before Locks got here.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff, you love the new portal rules for college sports. Yes,
portal
you
rules
do.
Meaning like just being able to transfer anytime, basically for any. I like them because the players are able to finally get some of their value. That's
not really why you like them, Jeff.
The system's been used against them for years.
Yes.
But in terms of the reason what I don't like about it is just the fan affinity for the game. Like, people are getting very turned off by having to learn a new team every year, and obviously thinking it's all about the money, and guys are just going one school to another, so they feel like they don't have that sense of loyalty from the players, or that bond of them loving the university like you love it, things like that. So I don't like it for that reason. I like it this off season because content machine is
there we go.
Fire. Straight fire.
Took him a long time to wheel back to the clicks.
Yes.
All right, I got it
Yeah.
now. Yeah, I love it. It's good. It's great.
Yes,
I would be writing about like
yes.
Sam Hollenbach like opening up a new storage unit facility or some such shit. I don't know where I came up with that, but I'd be writing about
April's a pretty rough content.
Yeah,
month
before the
around
portal
here.
got big, this is when it really started to slow down. So, and it's fun, and it gives you a chance if you're following a school like Maryland that struggled last year. You're not going through some long rebuilding process. The season ended a month ago with everybody talking about fire Kevin Willard, and now they're tweeting about buying tickets to the Final Four next year.
Yeah, I do like it for that too. But
It certainly makes the offseason more interesting. That's for sure.
Paul, last one. You will agree right now to go to a lacrosse tailgate next year with Wheels and I.
Oh, hell yeah. Just give me an excuse to go to a tailgate. I probably won't go into the game, but
I want to give that one to Jeff too, but I know there are very special tailgates that Jeff only shows up for, right? So
the reason I stopped going to lacrosse games is because I enjoyed the tailgates a little too much in my younger days. So that's I can squeeze one in there for sure.
Excellent. All right,
and
guys.
I bust Wheels' balls, but he's good people. I like catching up.
He is an awesome guy. He's an awesome guy. All right, guys. Good show. Selton seems like a lot of fun. Also, I watched
Goal and Assassin, baby.
Yeah, Goal and Assassin. In prep for the show, I watched a lot of his highlight reels, and man, I think he's just going to be awesome for the team next year. So versatile. He can shoot. He can drive. He can pass. His passing. He's got very good court vision. So
physical.
Yes, his transition game is good. Like seems like he does everything. So
you could imagine a lot of fun stuff with the 2 through 4 positions, depending on how small Willard wants to go.
Yeah.
Shout out Bruno Fernando.
Yes.
The king, always.
The original Angolan assassin.
That's right.
The original Angolan assassin. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. Please do us a favor. If you haven't already, please do us a favor and subscribe. Give us a like, all those things. That really helps out. And if you hit that bell, you'll get a notification knowing when we're going live. And we always do make it as widely known as possible on the message board, on X and Facebook, etc., all of the social media sites. I don't know. I mean, if they get another recruit next week, which is possible, we'll come back next week.
Yeah, if there's news, we're back. That's kind of how this is going to go for a while. So
yeah,
keep checking the Twitter, hit that notification button. You'll never miss a thing.
Yeah,
and plus we got Trey and Sam doing all this fun stuff with the shorts and interviews and things with other players, and there's a lot of content on the YouTube site that's not just us. So by all means, please subscribe and give it a look. There's a lot of fun stuff on there for Terps fans.
Yes, it will be, and hopefully we have that reason to come on next week. If not, we'll let you know, but hopefully we'll be here. Thank you guys very much. This is IMS Radio.